The Stearman Model 75 is a biplane used as a military trainer aircraft, of which at least 10,626 were built in the United States during the 1930s and 1940s. Stearman Aircraft became a subsidiary of Boeing in 1934. Widely known as the Stearman, Boeing-Stearman or Kaydet, it served as a primary trainer for the USAAF, the USN, and with the RCAF as the Kaydet throughout World War II. After the conflict was over, thousands of surplus aircraft were sold on the civilian market. In the immediate post-war years they became popular as crop dusters, sports planes, and for aerobatic and wing-walking use in air shows. Design and development. The Kaydet was a conventional biplane of rugged construction with large, fixed tailwheel undercarriage, and accommodation for the student and instructor in open cockpits in tandem. The radial engine was usually uncooled, although some Stearman operators choose to cowl the engine, most notably the Red Baron Stearman Squadron. Operational history. Post-war usage. After World War II, the thousands of PT-17 Stearmans were auctioned off to civilians and former pilots. Many were modified for crop dusting use, with a hopper for pesticide or fertilizer fitted in place of the front cockpit. Additional equipment included pumps, spray bars, and nozzles mounted below the lower wings. A popular approved modification to increase the maximum takeoff weight and climb performance involved fitting a larger Pratt & Whitney 985 engine and a constant-speed propeller. An iconic movie image is a Stearman crop duster chasing Cary Grant across a field in North by Northwest. Christopher Reeve and Scott Wilson are shown flying 1936-built variants in the 1985 movie The Aviator. Variants. The U.S. Army Air Force's Kaydet had three different designations based on its powerplant: PT-13, with a Lycoming R680 engine. 2,141 total all models. PT-13 initial production. R680B4B engine. 26 built. PT-13A R680-7 engine. 92 delivered 1937-38. Model A75. PT-13B R680-11 engine. 255 delivered 1939-40. PT-13C 6.13BS modified for instrument flying. PT-13D PT-13 is equipped with the R680-17 engine. 353 delivered. Model E75. PT-17, with a Continental R670-5 engine. 3,519 delivered. PT-17A 18 pints-17s were equipped with blind flying instrumentation. PT-17B 3.17s were equipped with agricultural spraying equipment for pest control. PT 18 pints-13 with a Jacobs R755 engine, 150 built. PT 18A 6.18s fitted with blind flying instrumentation. PT 27 Canadian .17. This designation was given to 300 aircraft supplied under Lend-Lease to the RCAF. The U.S. Navy had several versions including NS, up to 61 delivered powered by surplus 220 horsepower Wright J5 Whirlwind, N2S, known colloquially as the Yellow Peril from its overall yellow paint scheme. N2S1 a 670-14 engine. 250 delivered to the U.S. Navy. N2S2 a 680-8 engine. 125 delivered to the U.S. Navy. N2S3 a 670-4 engine. 1,875 delivered to the U.S. Navy. N2S499 U.S. Army aircraft diverted to the U.S. Navy, plus 577 new-build aircraft. N2S5 a 680-17 engine. 1,450 delivered to the U.S. Navy. Stearman 70, original prototype, powered by 215 horsepower Lycoming radial engine. Temporary designation XPT-943 for evaluation. Model 73, initial production version. 61 built for U.S. Navy as NS plus export variants. Model 73L3, version for Philippines, powered by 200 horsepower A680-4 or A680C1 engines. 7 built. Model A73B1, 7 aircraft for Cuban Air Force powered by 235 horsepower Wright R760 Whirlwind. Delivered 1939 Euro 1940. Model A73L3, improved version for Philippines. 3 built. Stearman 75, aka X-75, evaluated by the Army as a primary trainer. The X-75L3 became the PT-13 prototype. Variants of the 75 formed the PT-17 family. Stearman 76, export trainer and armed versions of the 75. Stearman 90 and 91, aka X-90 and X-91, productionized metal-framed version becoming the XPT-17. Stearman XPT-943, the X-70 evaluated at Wright Field. American Airmotive NA-75, single-seat agricultural conversion of Model 75, fitted with new, high-lift wings. Operators, Argentina, Argentine Air Force, Argentine Navy received 16 Model 76D1S 1936–1937 and 60 N2S Kaydet post-war. All were retired by the early 1960s. Bolivia, Bolivian Air Force, Brazil, Brazilian Air Force Model A75L3 and 76. Canada, Royal Canadian Air Force received 300 Pints-27s under Lend-Lease. Republic of China Air Force received 150 Pints-17s under Lend-Lease, and 20 refurbished aircraft post-war. Colombia, Colombian Air Force, Cuba, Cuban Air Force, Dominican Republic, Dominican Air Force, Greece, Hellenic Air Force, Guatemala, Guatemalan Air Force, Honduras, Honduran Air Force, Iran, Imperial Iranian Air Force, Israel, Israeli Air Force purchased 20 Pints-17s. Mexico, Mexican Air Force, Nicaragua, Nicaraguan Air Force, Paraguay, Paraguayan Air Force, Peru, Peruvian Air Force, Philippines, Philippine Army Air Corps, Philippine Air Force, United States, U.S. Army Air Corps, U.S. Army Air Forces, U.S. Marine Corps, United States Navy, Venezuela, Venezuelan Air Force. Survivors, a considerable number of Stearmans remain in flying condition throughout the world, as the type remains a popular sport plane and warbird. Argentina, an N2S5 is at the Argentine Naval Aviation Museum in flight condition. Brazil, a Pint-17 is displayed at the Museu Aerospatial in Rio de Janeiro and Museu TAM in São Carlos. Colombia 2.17s remain in active service for display. Israel, the Israeli Air Force maintains a single airworthy PT-17 at its museum in Hatzarim. Peru, a Pint-17 is on display at the Instituto de Estudios Históricos Aeroespaciales del Peru, Miraflores, Lima. Mexico, 3 Pints-17s are on display at the Air College. United States, a Stearman Model 70, the original prototype of the Model 75, is in the final stages of restoration at Western Antique Aeroplane and Automobile Museum. A Pint-17 is in regular use at Mississippi State University as a research aircraft and glider tow plane. A Pint-17 is on display and available for flights at Flying Adventures, Johnson Aeronautical, St. Petersburg Clearwater International Airport in St. Pete, Florida. A Pint-17 is on display at the New England Air Museum, Bradley International Airport, Windsor Locks, CT. A Pint-17 Kaydet is presented as a USN N2S3 and is flown regularly at the Military Aviation Museum in Pungo, Virginia. A Pint-17 is on display in the hangar deck of the USS Yorktown at the Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum in Charleston, South Carolina. A Pint-17 is on display at Vintage Flying Museum, Meacham International Airport, Fort Worth, Texas. A Pint-27 is flown on behalf of the No. 1 British Flying Training School Museum, where it commemorates its service with the No. 1 BFTS during World War II from early 1943 to mid-1944. This particular aircraft was one of 300 given to the Royal Canadian Air Force under Lend-Lease and served in Canada from June 1942 to December 1942. A Pint-13D is on display at the National Museum of the United States Air Force in Dayton, Ohio. This aircraft is from the last batch of Kaydets produced and was donated to the museum in 1959 by the Boeing Aircraft Company, which purchased the Stearman Company in 1934. A N-2S-3, in which George H. W. Bush once flew as part of his Navy training, is on display at the Pacific Aviation Museum, on Ford Island, Pearl Harbor. A N-2S-3 is on display at the Tri-State Warbird Museum in Batavia, Ohio. A N-2S is on display at Carolinas Aviation Museum, Charlotte, North Carolina. An annual gathering of surviving Stearman biplanes known as the Stearman Fly-In takes place during the first week of September at the Galesburg Municipal Airport in Galesburg, Illinois. Specifications. Data from United States military aircraft since 1909, general characteristics, crew, 2, student and instructor, length, 24 feet 9 inches, wingspan, 32 feet 2 in, height, 9 feet 8 in, wing area, 298 square feet, empty weight, 1,931 pounds, max takeoff weight, 2,635 pounds, power plant, 1 Continental A670-5 7-cylinder air-cooled radial engine, 220 horsepower, performance, maximum speed, 135 miles per hour, cruise speed, 96 miles per hour, service ceiling 13,200 feet, climb to 10,000 feet, 17.3 minutes. See also: aircraft of comparable role, configuration and era, Aradoa 66, bar 1/4 CKER bar 1/4 131, de Havilland Tiger Moth, Fleet Finch, Focke-Wulf FW44, Gotha-Go 145, Naval Aircraft Factory N3N, Polikarpov Po-2, PWS 26. References, notes. Bibliography. Videography. External links, interview with Boeing .17 Airshow pilot John Moo.